Good evening. I'm so glad to welcome everybody this evening to Kidney Cancer Canada and CancerPEP. This is an exciting program that I'm so happy to be able to share with you finally. I'm going to introduce our guest speakers and the founders of CancerPEP, the people that made this program possible. And you're going to learn all about it. So just give me 1 second, and I'm just going to introduce Dr. Rob Rutledge. And Dr. Rob Rutledge is an associate professor of medicine at Dalhousie University, a full-time radiation oncologist specializing in genitourinary, breast, and pediatric cancers. And you've had a long-standing interest in integrative medicine. And I know, Rob, that you truly believe in the whole package, mind, body, spirit, making a patient whole. And I know, Gabriela, you believe strongly in that as well. And Dr. Gabriela Ilie is an associate professor of epidemiology in the Faculty of Medicine at Dalhousie University and the endowed, and I'm going to say this wrong, Solis.
Sure.
You can correct me if you please correct me. Scientist in cancer quality of life research. She has over 20 years of experience teaching and conducting research on the intersectionality between psychology, mental health, cancer, and quality of life outcomes. And that truly speaks to taking care of the whole patient. And Gabriela, you and I have been friends for a long time, and Rob, you as well. And they truly walk the walk. I'm so glad to have them here and this program that they've developed. And I'm going to let you take it away, and I'm excited to have a chat with you at the end after your presentation.
Thank you.
Okay. You're welcome.
Thank you so much. I'm going to share the screen.
While she shares screen, I'm going to reflect kidney cancer. There's a real connection between kidney cancer and the immune system. And if you can maximize your immune function, you can actually have better outcomes. And the other thing is, there are side effects to the treatment. And so if you can get through your treatments more easily and get more of those treatments, oftentimes you increase your chance of cure or longevity. So it's more than just quality of life. We're talking about, cure versus not and longevity and so on.
And I want to reflect as well. And thank you, Christine, for the beautiful introduction. Yeah. And thank you, Kidney Cancer Canada, for wanting to partner with us. We've been doing this work, the scientific part of it, at least for the past 8-9 years now. But we've been translating science for cancer patients, for you in particular, for over 30 years. 30 years now. It's been a long time. And yes, and I come with a background of teaching psychology and basically teaching budding scientists, budding medical doctors and clinical psychologists about those various things that go into quality of life, go into how people respond to illness, and what do they do to prepare themselves, how do they navigate their life after a chronic illness or cancer diagnosis. So we are so excited to be presenting this program. We've worked very hard for it, and we love doing this.
Yeah,
so
100% love
for
it.
us, this is a life journey.
Yeah, and I guess the other takeaway is that you can make a profound influence in your health, right? So we want to empower people to take back the control as much as they can to really make a difference in their lives and to connect more. And so hopefully we can show you this program, and we're gonna have some fun tonight as well. So
yes, and also I guess as a
it's only gonna be a 3-hour presentation, so don't worry about it. So
just a quick comment: everything that you're going to see and the program that we're talking about has 3 main ingredients. The one is prescription, description, but the third one is very important, we think, and science thinks, and that is demonstration. And what Christine said, that we really walk the walk. We have actually transformed our lives to be able to do this and travel alongside cancer patients. I think it makes a difference because it brings the denominator of the humanity denominator into the forefront of everything that we do. So we're a little humbled by life and living. We're perfectly imperfect, all of us. And yet there is we build a beautiful national and international community of people that are like-minded, that want to try little healthy habits, that we do our best. And we encourage one another. And it's a safe environment.
Yes. And we continue to learn. So We're in this together. So let's have some fun. And, explaining and, really, and I'm kind of excited as well because from this talk, we're not just talking about the program. I want you to walk away with some very specific ideas and recommendations in terms of what you can do starting tonight or tomorrow that can actually influence your health. So there is an educational piece to this in addition to explaining what the Cancer Patient Empowerment Program is.
Exactly. With the caveat, when I said we're perfectly imperfect, that it takes years at times to form
practicing,
healthy living habits.
Trying,
And here I am, 9 years after we started this type of research and we tested it scientifically, we really are beginning to become, I would say, a little wise about and accepting that indeed, healthy living habits that last a long time, they do take constant stability and consistency. And we do that by gathering a community of like-minded people, like I said, where we encourage one another and we don't promote guilt.
No.
Guilt is not going to help anybody.
You do this in a way, the program, in a way that works for you. And so you'll get an impression.
Within our limits.
Yeah, because really you could be living, even if you have continue to have kidney cancer, you can be lived for like decades, like with the new medications and so on. So really, in some sense, I want you to get through your treatment now or recover now, but really we're thinking long-term health. How can you be stronger? How can you have more energy? How can you think more clearly? We want all that for you. And so that's the empowerment piece, what you can do to influence your health and happiness. So, I'm starting to get wound up already. So anyways, this is what we're talking about today. So the great thing is you can learn about this on the website. It has a slightly different picture on the website, but on the website, you can go there and learn about the program. And the other great thing is that there is a 10-minute video that you can watch that kind of summarize this more clearly. So it's very helpful. And then ultimately within the kidney cancer program, you're simply going to email me and I'm going to onboard you. So that's going to be how it's going to go. I'll give you my email address, my cell number at the end of this, but essentially
they're not fake. They're actually real.
Anybody who wants to be part of the program, I'll get you going. You don't have to go through the steps on this website. So
and I just have to reflect. It's so interesting because we've been doing this for so many years, and we never had people abusing it. I think because I think they realized, oh my goodness, it's actually them and not just some program out there that I access. I never see the people. I never talk to them. No. Actually, I have access to them all the time, which I think it's very important.
And the organic part of this is super important. So we've kind of summarized the program you're seeing here. It's emails every day for 6 months. So 182 emails with little videos from us. And we promote the things. We'll explain some of the healthy habits and so on, but it's actually the connection. It's the human to human. You're connecting with us. You can join us for monthly video conferences. You can have a buddy. It's that kind of organic human touch that I really think is the secret sauce of the program. It's not enough for us just to say, no, go on a walk every day. It actually, you join this community, you join in a way that makes sense for you.
Yeah. And in fact, when Rob and I started this program when it was in its infancy, this is one of the things that came from the literature, that is not enough to prescribe, tell people what to do or why to do it, but you have to do it yourself. And when you stay and think about it again, as a teaching psychology, it kind of makes sense. Children, they don't do what you tell them to do, but they do what you do, right? They do what we do.
Yeah.
And so it does make, common sense motherhood.
Yeah, the motherhood things. Okay, nice. Let's get into the motherhood. So as we say here, so these are the 182 little 3 to 5 minute, well, it's actually more like 5 to 7 minute for this CancerPEP program. And on the right-hand side of the screen, you would receive an email. Now the email is looks a little classier now because
it looks really nice now. You have little images that demonstrate each section. And what I like about it, your advice is actually lovely. The first thing that you see on that email, it says, watch your daily video. And you click on that. And I think that's very important because you get to see Rob and I in our kitchen right here.
This is it.
Our home. And we welcome you. Say, hey, good morning. Today is Touch Tuesday. This is what we're going to do. Come, and we start talking about the various things that we can do, very practical things that we can do in our lives to improve how we feel.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, like you said, it's not like adding just years to life, but adding life to years.
Yeah. And that percolates down into the immune function, which gives you a better chance of recovery. So it's one holistic perspective.
Even if you don't do anything else with that email, at least watching the daily video, because that will encourage you. You'll get a sense from us directly in terms of, what are some of the things that we could try today. It's just it's a recommendation. Let's try to do this together.
Yeah.
And we're doing it alongside with you.
Yes. And even if you're feeling really crappy that particular day, you don't have to do everything.
Beautiful.
Yeah. You do what you can.
Even if you don't do anything except just watch the video. And
watch the video.
You say, that's it. That's all I can do. Gabriela and Rob, nothing more.
Practice relaxation techniques. So so we want to get people out to do a walk, for instance, every day. We want you to sit less. So actually that's the first teaching point here. So, okay. We're also going to have fun in terms of doing a quiz for you. And so within the last 7 days, I want you to ask yourself, did you actually get out there and do something that was moderate of intent? So the aim is for...
In terms of exercise.
Some type of exercise. You can add strength training through those minutes, but it's typically 30 minutes a day is what we're looking for.
Yeah.
Probably more on average is better. But if you made 150 minutes... give yourself a point in your mind. Okay, now the teaching part of this is if we sit too much, and Gabriela and I are both at risk of doing that because of our kind of jobs and focusing so hard, it is not good for you. And so typically it's sitting, watching TV, gaming, lying, reading a book, all that stuff.
That sitting is the new smoking.
Yeah. So those are the things that put us at risk, commuting, et cetera, et cetera. In fact, why don't we just stretch right now?
That's a good idea.
For 1 moment.
Yes, all of us.
I've got my blue pants on, so. So just kind of look up to the sky and stretch for a moment. Stretch your body in a way that feels right for you. Sometimes you
can bend within your capacity, whatever that is.
Yeah. Whatever needs to come out and shake it out. You can do whatever you need to do.
There you go.
So in the midst of it, so what is too much? Is it 2 hours in a row? Is it 3 hours in a row? Is it 6 hours sitting solidly in a day? Probably. The takeaway is, and we harp at you every day, almost stand up 5 minutes on the hour. I keep on saying that to remind us to do that. And why is that so important? So even if you're exercising, you're doing your power walk first thing in the morning, but then you sit solidly for 8 hours afterward, it actually changes the chemistry within your blood. All those kind of chemicals and cytokines and inflammatory markers get released, and that can increase the risk of putting on too much weight. It changes the blood sugars. It changes how the fat is metabolized, the sugars transferred, and so on. You get pooling of your clotting factors, putting you at higher risk of those problems. Your brain actually slows a little bit because your body is saying to your brain, I'm slowing down now. So we know that in the short term is bad for you. And if you look at it kind of in the biggest picture, so this Canadian study, 17,000 Canadians, 50% all-cause mortality increased if you're sitting too much. So you want to keep on stretching, right? It's beyond kidney cancer. If you look at cancer itself, again, any factor that increases the risk of cancer is something that we want to try to avoid after we get a diagnosis. Or if you know a factor is protective, like exercise, then you want to exercise after a diagnosis.
Yeah, so as you were saying earlier, I think the key for me has been now just looking at it from an eagle's eyes perspective is this idea of inflammation.
Yes.
We try to, as much as we possibly can, first off, understand the factors that could bring inflammation up, because even if I just know about them, then I can do something about them. But if they're not coming to the forefront of my consciousness, then I won't do anything about it. It's like mood, you don't really know about your mood. I could be really in a bad mood, and I don't know about it until Rob comes and talks to me and says, hey, are you okay?
What's happening? Yeah.
You're not your usual self.
Yeah.
Then, oh, yeah, actually, he's right. I've been quite snippy. I came home, I didn't give him a kiss. And, right? So the same thing with inflammation. If we know the various things that could rise potentially inflammation, things like sitting for too long, getting up, not stretching, and Rob is going to mention
totally
some
stressed,
some other factors, what we eat, how we think, etc. So all those things contribute. And if we start getting, in a program like this, where every day we bring to your attention minor little things that you can do to improve, decrease inflammation, and give you more energy. And one of them is stand up. Stand up every 5 minutes on the hour. And we have plenty of tips. And you're going to laugh. I mean, we're funny. We're also husband and wife. So
and we're humble too.
No, but you're gonna laugh. I promise you. You're gonna recognize yourself. Very soon you're going to know the dynamic. It's a little funny. We make fun of ourselves.
Makes sense.
It's the best way to grow and learn, right?
And the other thing I want to say is inflammation. That's kind of that irritated body. It's kind of like having smoldering fires kind of going on in your body. One of the issues around inflammation is when your inflammation is up, your immune system is not working as well. And so I'm going to kind of keep pitching that. It's a holistic program that allows you to decrease your inflammation and maximize your immune function, amongst many other things. Okay, so shortens your life on average. They're saying here that, the hour of TV watching, if it's done, too many hours in a row, decreases your longevity, more so than having a cigarette. So, ouch. Here's a very interesting one. So this is, again, I'm going to share you a study. So they had a 9-hour study. They had 3 groups of people, and they gave them a kind of drink with sugar at hours 1, 4, and 6. And then a third of them were randomized to just sitting. A third of them had a 30-minute exercise, then sitting. Or a third of them after, would have a 100-second quick little up and stretch every 30 minutes. And the guys that actually moved every 30 minutes, their sugar and insulin levels were less.
Ouch.
Yes.
Ouch.
Right. And there's a whole other thing around insulin right now.
The science. I love science, right? Because you think, well, but I exercised today. Yes, I know that I sat for a long time. I had a deadline, don't you know? Yes. Science is very clear that actually it's not enough to go and have this great workout for 30 minutes.
Power walk or whatever.
It's really important. It's what you do throughout the day, right? So do you get up? Do you allow the body? So in other words, you oppose the body going into inflammation. You say, not so fast, right? Whereas if you sit for long periods of time, inflammation goes up. Fascinating.
There it is.
What we learn from that.
And it's science, right? So then how do you sit less? You who's like working so hard. I put her on the spot right now. Yeah. How do you get yourself to stand more often?
You get a stand-up desk.
Yes.
You get one of those fancy watches.
Yes, there it is.
That starts beeping at you.
Yes.
Oh my goodness, doesn't it ever? Yeah.
Look for those opportunities. Look for opportunities to take the stairs, for instance.
Yes.
I like the stand-up desk. I also have a habit. Oops, a daisy. I can't. What is? I have a habit of if I'm going to talk to one of my patients on the phone, I stand up. If my lovely wife or my daughter calls me, I will stand up and talk to them on the phone.
I was talking to the head of my department today. I was at work quite late, actually. I'm a little bit embarrassed. I just have a few deadlines. And Mark was saying that he used to have a colleague that I know and I'm very fond of. He's retired now. But when Don wanted to talk to Mark in the winter time, they would go and make loops around the office. We have one of those offices that you can actually walk around. And I said, what a great idea. So I said, how many times would you guys go around? And I said, about 10 times. But we'll finish our conversation. We'll get up to date.
A walking meeting.
There you go.
Walk to work. There's the walking meeting. Okay. So after all that, give yourself a point if you feel like you are actually getting that kind of standing up for 5 minutes on the hour through the day, or if you're not sitting for more than 2 hours at a time. Okay, so remember that. I'll remind you at the end there. Okay, so the next part of the program is actually strength training.
Very important.
Like sitting, it has an additive benefit beyond aerobic exercise. So yes, you can do a power walk in the morning, but if you actually prime those muscles, get those muscles to really fire hard twice per week, maybe for 30 minutes at a time. You actually have different types of myokines and different types of chemicals from the muscles getting to your brain. It wires your brain in a different way.
Yes, and in the program, so you see Gabriela here doing an easier version of the exercises. Those strength exercises come in 4 levels of intensity, okay? And then Rob does the more difficult ones. And so the more intense the exercises, the less you rest.
Yeah.
Okay, and the more you do the work.
Yeah.
We also have a series of yoga, which is also very important. The core, you work with the core.
And I do the easy one
he does the easy
because I can hardly touch my toe or touch my knees, one of those scenarios.
And then we have a series of Qigong.
Yes.
Now, very, very interesting. Did you know? So Qigong is slow movement. It's like you moving in the water, and you might say, what's the big deal, Gabrielle? How can you possibly build core with that?
Give it a try.
Give it a try. And studies show, so I remember teaching adult development at the University of Toronto, and I was shocked, literally, when I had to tell my students based on science that actually the #1 exercise that predicts longevity is Tai Chi or Qigong, followed by
your
walking.
Yeah.
I mean, try to tell that someone.
And the senior citizens,
there's a whole science behind that. And in your daily emails, you'll get to hear the science behind that.
Okay, so strength training.
Yep.
And that gives you an idea of the type of exercise. And again, you would do it in a way that's best for you. So give yourself a point if within the last 7 days, twice over, you did something that was strength related. And you're like a yoga-holic. So
I am.
You definitely got yours. And I'm doing more strength training in the winter right now. So I will get a strength point here as well.
Yeah.
Okay, so there's a whole...
And we have a series of Qigong exercises. In the winter, we do all sorts of activities with our...
Weekly,
weekly. So this Saturday, so in 2 days' time, we're going to have a 1-hour Qigong session. And you get to be invited to all those sessions, by the way.
As part of the program.
So you get to see a lot of us.
So again, this is very, very, very strong science that you actually practice a relaxation technique. Now, we teach it through a little bit of a meditation and a visualization, breathing through your heart and then remembering something that really warmed your heart, some image, person, blah, 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 blah. So when you kind of bring your body into that space with the slow breathing, it actually settles down your nervous system. So you come in a more peaceful state, and then that begins to permeate through your day, and you're able to better bring that up on cue when you're running into a stressful situation. So your brain would change if you actually practice that over a 6-month period.
Yeah. We also talk about breathing and the importance of breathing.
Breath.
So we have various breath exercises, very easy, some of them, and you will be amazed what breath alone can do in terms of relaxing.
For certain. So change their stress habits. So okay, so not many people practice this, but again, we're trying to harp at it so then it becomes a part of your day. So for instance, first thing in the morning, you and I, like when we first come downstairs, we'll practice a meditation technique for 10 minutes. And so it now is just part of what we do.
Yeah. And in fact, we do a lot of things in the program because remember, we prescribe, we describe, and we demonstrate. And so a lot of the healthy habits that we talk about in the program, we adopted them in our lives.
And we're sharing the science.
We share both the science and just practical things because our lives are complicated, right?
Yeah.
So how do you
integrate this?
How do you integrate this?
How do you change your habits?
With humor. No guilt, with humor and lightheartedness and love and determination and love.
Yeah, but ultimately for me, it's like, why are you doing all this? It's because I want to have more energy so that I can really connect more deeply with my loved ones and do meaningful things that are important to me, right? So there's a purpose beyond just cure, not longevity, not or just doing all that stuff. It's like it's for a reason. Okay, dietary advice.
Imagine that.
Yeah.
Cooking shows.
I'll show that. I'll show the video.
Once a week.
So
daily dietary recommendations.
Yes. So we're pushing you towards more of a plant-based diet, trying to decrease the kind of red meat stuff, trying to get the whole foods. We're going to have a whole talk now about whole foods, talking about vitamin D, the healthy swaps, and then time-restricted eating, which I'm going to explain here as well. On the left-hand side is this video, a little clip from us actually doing a cooking video.
I didn't know that we had that. Oh,
yes.
that's good.
Yeah.
I'm glad that you put that there. And the general advice of the program is eat foods, not chemicals, not processed stuff.
Yes.
Mostly plants, right?
Yeah.
Not too much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so in the videos, it's a weekly video. Gabriela is a fantastic chef. She's bringing her Romanian heritage and these really good kind of plant-based meals. And I am on the other end of the spectrum. I can wash a good dish, but I'm terrible. I'm the inept oncologist in the kitchen. So she's teaching me. And it's a once a week video that you get to kind of follow along a recipe if you want to.
And he's following along just fine. And
heck, I cook supper.
And after a while, you get to hear. I know you did. Isn't that beautiful?
I want to go show them what I cooked tonight.
This is investment. It's going to pay back.
My tofu. Anyway, so I want to give a talk, the little piece here on this issue of ultra processed foods and food like substance, not even food, what is being delivered these days, because it's something that you can change right now, but I'm trying to bring this to your awareness so that you get smarter about, for instance, reading the labels in the grocery stores. So the issue is that the food industry has changed in order to try to maximize their profits. And so they're extracting food nutrients out of whole foods, right? So they're kind of suck out the oil from this and the shaft from this and all that stuff. And so they're stripping the food of actually the important micronutrients, because it isn't just like one thing, it's the package that actually makes a difference. And then there's the preservatives, that a whole other issue by itself. And yes, perhaps this is cheaper. And it certainly served a purpose in the 1970s when there was perhaps lack of food, but we've gone way too far and we're really making ourselves sick through this. So, and the food industry is basically set it up so they're designing foods that are addictive, right? The right combination of sugar, salt, and fat.
Yeah, that's right.
And soft and kind of high density energy. Your body, as soon as that kind of sugary stuff hits your gut, you have that addiction and the dopamine, but the problem is the spike in the sugars as well primes the insulin-like growth factor, which primes cancer cell growth. There's a reason why you don't want to have your sugars go like this. But essentially, it also causes overconsumption. And the marketing machine, through these iterative cycles, is just like, figure it out. We humans are addicted in certain ways, and they've tried to maximize that for their profit. So that's what's happened. Sorry to say the truth.
And also they want to increase the life, the
shelf preservative,
life of products,
all
right?
About
because
profit,
not all of them move, or they have heterogeneous time frames at which the food moves out, right?
Yes.
So from a pure business perspective, it makes sense to come up with some solution so that the actual seller of the product doesn't lose profit in the process. But with that, of course, somebody has to pay for that. And
our health.
The reality is that we're paying for it with our health.
So there's the three categories here. This is a Brazilian researcher who created this. It's somewhat arbitrary classification. These three categories are actually okay. Like the less processed, the better. But essentially, this is the good stuff, right? And then there's a whole other world of ultra processed foods in which they have all this kind of chemicals and then rich in sugar, salt, and syrup, and oils and additives and all that stuff. And so what's an ultra processed food? It's basically,
I'm glad that you're defining
contains ingredients, usually extracts of whole foods, but they add the chemicals and the dyes and so on, the emulsifiers that can, really make a difference. So it's stuff you wouldn't have in your kitchen.
Yeah.
You can't make this food yourself.
You can't pronounce the name. You can't find it in your cupboard. That's definitely an indication. You can't pronounce it most of the time. I tell you.
Yeah.
We travel to South Africa. At least they call it E25.
Yeah.
Here they call it
the ingredients.
Ultra doxy.
Well, like yeast extract and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So the sad part is, if you go into your grocery store, almost all the supermarket bread, the breakfast cereals, most of the yogurts, unless you're down to 2 ingredients type thing, the energy bars, the foods that are wrapped in plastic, this is all ultra processed stuff. I'm sorry, folks, to
and you really need to look at the ingredients to make sure that you at least you're aware. You're aware of what you're buying. And those I like telling stories. I used to teach very large classes of students, so you have to come up with some story narrative to make it easy.
Yes.
So, because just sometimes we get wrapped up. It sounds too scientific, too academic, too medical kind of. But think about detergent and how we put detergent when we wash clothes, right? There is a certain, what we call emulsifier.
Yes, there it is. Boom.
Whose purpose is to break down the fat, the oils, the stains on our clothes, the dirt.
Yeah.
So those emulsifiers, what they do when they come in our body, because those ultra processed foods also have emulsifiers in them. So what happens is they destroy the lining
of the gut.
Of the gut.
Yeah.
And what happens, Rob?
Well,
when that happens,
if you're kind of breaking down that kind of mucous membrane, and then it's essentially the stool and the food substances can get into the bloodstream very quickly, and it's called leaky gut syndrome.
Ouch.
And so you're getting all those kind of chemicals into your system, causing inflammation and irritation, and your gut isn't so happy. So lots of different types of additives there.
Mm-hmm.
So what I'm showing here is a label. Typically, we think about the macronutrients up top. Actually, I really suggest that you read the ingredient list, right? What is the number of ingredients, and do you recognize some of these chemicals?
This is great. Look at this.
Yeah.
Datem? What the heck is datem?
Yeah.
I can't find datem in my cupboard. L-cysteine? No.
That actually
I didn't find it in the store. They were sold out. I mean, seriously, those are the sort of things that we're talking about. Emulsifiers, plenty of them.
And Canada Food Guide recognizes these are all highly processed foods.
And you know what? I just have to say this. I'm not an activist of any kind. And definitely don't. But in Europe, it's well known because we went to South Africa recently. I think I just told you that. And oh my goodness, it's even, the situation is even worse there than it is in North America. We put so many ultra processed foods in South Africa. They do it worse. They don't even bother with those complex names. They just say E24. But you go to Europe, and they don't put as much.
Yeah. Just by itself.
In their food.
Yeah, the bread is that much better.
We don't really. We've gone too far.
Yeah.
Too far.
Well said.
Need to rail it in a bit.
Rail it in again. I just want to show you the ingredient list of this. I think it's like an ice cream or something.
Ice cream.
Contains bioengineered food ingredients.
Oh.
So that is an unnatural food.
Yes.
The issue is
we have bioengineering meats. We have bioengineering so many things, and they look like the actual thing,
right?
But they're not.
Yeah. It's probably 60% of our diet in terms of caloric intake. Children, probably 75% of the diet. It's associated with these other issues. So really, we're creating an epidemic here through the food system. And we can each, take the program or whatever, just change your diet and be the kind of light amongst your family and friends. And for all of us, this is the clear associations between, eating chemicals, essentially, and poor mental health, increased risk of cancer, definitely the obesity, diabetes part of it, neurodegenerative side. There's many other conditions. Mm-hmm. You're really, priming your body to be unhealthy if you're eating the unhealthy stuff. Okay, I want to do just a quick summary of this study because is really quite telling. So they took 20 overweight adults. They had them in a kind of like institutional scenario. So they were able to really measure exactly what they were eating, and they assessed them. Yeah. And half of them started with 2 weeks of the healthy diet. Half of them started with 2 weeks of the ultra-processed diet. And then they switched sides. So then they got the opposite and got a chance to have the other side. The unhealthy diet was 80% of the calories came from ultra-processed food, whereas in the healthy diet, 80% of the calories came from whole foods, essentially. And then they try to balance it out very carefully in terms of the amount of fiber, the caloric density, the macronutrients, all that stuff was balanced. So for instance, you could imagine an ultra-processed blueberry muffin, made with a lot of chemicals, but you could also produce a blueberry muffin that was made of just foods, like whole foods, right? Yeah. And so it would be quite similar. Interestingly,
you wouldn't be able to tell the difference,
those first 2 weeks, the people felt the same degree of satiety. They enjoyed the food to the same degree. They were actually enjoying their meals. But the ultra-processed food group actually ate 500 calories more per day.
Wow.
Which turned into having them gain 2 pounds on average, whereas the healthy group actually lost 2 pounds of weight. So they're eating whole foods, but they're eating a little bit less and they're enjoying the food to the same degree.
Yeah. It's really interesting to me because from a pure scientific perspective, again, we eat with our minds, we eat with our eyes. So the mind doesn't know the difference between a muffin that is fully food versus a muffin that is ultra processed foods, right? So yes, of course, I'm not surprised that they're both group enjoy their food just as much. The same. No difference there. But when it comes to the actual caloric intake and the effect that had on our health, there's a difference.
Yeah.
And the difference is shocking.
Yeah. And we don't know exactly why this is true. I think it gets into your system where your appetite system doesn't work the same. It doesn't get you the same signals within the brain. Your stomach doesn't get stretched in the same way. So we don't know, but it's definitely bad for us. So, all right. That was a lot. I'm hoping we're not trying to make you feel guilty. It's like,
because we're all in this together.
No, we agreed. And we're not going to be perfect in our diets, but it's just like a reminder to say, can you increase those whole foods? And so give yourself a point if you ate, thinking of yesterday, the 24-hour period, 5 servings of fruits and vegetables. I think you did. I think you were great.
I did. At the same time, I want to make the comment that, as I said, the reason for which I said we've gone too far. And even though, you can be a health freak and it's hard to find food when you have a busy life and you have to run from one place to another. And so I just want to bring home this message that it's gone so far that it's so hard to navigate your nutritional journey and avoid those processed foods. We went to South Africa. Again, I'm bringing up South Africa tonight a lot, but we went to the grocery store and I was looking at different products, and even just something like yogurt where you have
basically bacteria
bacterial culture in milk. No, they had E496 and no, seriously. I was looking at basic products just like, because usually when we travel, we stay at an Airbnb and we would like to eat our own food because we want to eat healthy.
Yes.
And hotel food, good luck with that. It looks great and everything. Remember, we eat with our minds, we eat with our eyes. But what do you get in terms of nutrition? And I tell you, we had a hard time shopping for the Airbnb to eat some healthy foods. I spent quite a bit of time in that grocery store. And Rob was wondering, where's my wife? Just taking like forever.
Yeah. I'm more like the optimist, which is you can learn to eat more healthfully, right?
Yes, you can.
They're not like we're asking you to
yes, we can.
Like flip the switch and just like, oh, I'm going to have the perfect diet tomorrow. No, you actually get to practice. Like, do I like that meal? How does it make me feel? So you're slowly making that transformation over 6 months so you can learn how to do this. It takes like some planning and a technique and so on. I'm going to give you a faster version because I think, we're 40 minutes in. So I give you a faster version around something else that you can change now, which is this idea of time-restricted eating. So this isn't about not just what you eat, but when you eat. And it's super important not to be eating overnight, for instance, and allowing your body to get into the hungry state, which causes ketosis, which really is very good for the anti-inflammation and lots of other things. So I'm going to give you the faster talk on this one. So the truth is that when you eat, the glucose goes into the cells or it gets stored as glycogen in the cells, and the fatty acids, the fat goes into the cells as well. When you stop eating, you kind of burn off the sugar that's there, you burn off the glycogen that's in your liver, and ultimately you have to start drawing on the fat. So that's the ketones, which is very healthy. Why is it so healthy? Because when the ketones get into the system, it's almost like it's a different energy system. You start kind of mopping up, eating the little bits that are of debris in the cells. You're taking out the weak cells. You're decreasing inflammation. Your gut has time to actually heal itself. Your brain, your organs, like all these things are actually healing when you allow yourself to kind of get into that, what I call hungry phase. And interesting, our gut cells and even the bacteria in our guts are actually synced to our 24-hour rhythm, right? So it's another reason why think of eating like a huge steak and eggs at 2 a.m. or 3 a.m. or 4 a.m., your body's not ready for it. The metabolism is different. And just by not eating overnight, that metabolism of the sugars, the insulin, the fats, all that stuff, the blood pressure actually gets better. Simple change in a habit to get yourself not to be eating calories overnight.
Add to that a good night's sleep.
Right.
Add to that some
As
very
best you
good,
can.
habits in terms of how we think, how we respond to situations, what we do in difficult situations. And you've got yourself the recipe of really being prepared from a place of empowerment to tackle life. So this is really motherhood. What excites us, Rob and I, about this, and I guess that's why we're committed to doing this kind of work for the rest of our lives. And we love it, is the fact that you realize, my goodness, nobody ever taught me those things. I wish I knew them. And so how many people get a cancer diagnosis and then, honest to goodness, they really want to know. They say, help me, doctor, help me. I would like to do something. What can I do?
And the doc says, well, I'll do some exercise and change your diet. And that's about it. You get like a 2-sentence summary and you're missing out on all this other science.
Right. And that's because the medical system was really, historically speaking, meant to and designed to deal with the disease.
Yeah, just
treat the disease,
physical care.
Sense, right? Yeah. So a program like this really fills this gap between the person getting the cancer diagnosis, right? The medical system looking at the disease and saying, okay, what's our plan? How we're going to tackle this? But then what about the whole person? What about the things that the person can do not to feel disempowered, not to feel like I have no control over this. There's nothing I can do. I'm going to be at the beck and call of the medical system, of whatever treatment I need to. That is from a pure psychological point of view. I can tell you, that's not a good place to be in. Science is very clear that when you feel that you have no control, right? That the external circumstances, wherever the wind goes, you go with it. That's no good. So this program is really meant to empower you, put the power back into the patient, activate that role into that we have into our own care, and do the little things that matter. Actually,
do the things that you can do, because we can't control everything, but you can have a huge influence in lots of ways. So
science has shown in our own studies that I don't know if you're going to show any of the science today, but we have, when you go on our website, CancerPEP.com, under research, you get to see some of the science that we conducted. But science shows very clearly that it can really positively affect oncological outcomes with those various healthy living habits that decrease inflammation, that change the soup in which the cancer is growing.
There it is. Okay, so how to change the soup? Ideally, don't eat for the first hour after waking, right? Like I'm getting hungry before breakfast is starting. Try not to eat for the last 2 or 3 hours before you go to sleep. And then the other part of it is you're trying to get into...
So if I stop eating at 7 p.m. I stop eating at 7 p.m. When can I eat next?
Try to get to 8 a.m. or 9 a.m. So you're looking at least 13, 14 hours.
Can I drink water?
Yes, you can. Just no calories. Try to, tea and coffee is what I'm saying. So ultimately, you're getting out to 14 hours, 15 hours, somewhere in there is probably better. But again, within whatever works best for you, we're all kind of different. So at least 12 to 14 hours is the kind of the takeaway on that one. For the first few weeks, yes, when you're in that hungry phase, when you're in that kind of 12 to 14 hour phase, when you're first getting up in the morning, you probably are going to feel a little bit more hungry, and you have some symptoms, right? A little,
not everybody does, but
some fatigue or irritability, headache, all that stuff. But really,
and you know why that is? Because we're addicted to the food that we eat.
Well,
and what is an addiction but something that we can't stop from happening?
Right. Well, I also say that as you practice over those few weeks, your body gets better at metabolizing the ketones. So it's like the whole system gets ramped up, like exercising, for instance. Why am I so passionate about this? Because it actually changes the function within the body, right? So there's their immune function again. Your heart is actually recovering. The blood sugars aren't going up so much. You can lose weight without losing muscle, for instance. Ding, 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 ding helps prevent cancer. If we know it helps prevent cancer, we want to do it afterwards. Stimulates brain function. Interesting, eh? The ketones feed the brain slightly better than the sugar is probably what's happening.
And you see this, so the way Rob is responding to this and his enthusiasm speaks to the usually about overall, most clinicians get excited about this, right? Because they really want their patients to do well.
Yeah.
And then they're saying, oh my gosh, I wish they knew this. I wish they did this. Because together we can work as a team to have the best oncological outcomes.
Exactly. Healing, recovery. Okay. Give yourself a point if you didn't eat for 12 or more hours last night. Do you know what I mean? I may not get a point.
I did. So I do. I get a point.
Yes, because you went to yoga and then came back and had your
oatmeal. Like eating in the evening. My body. Yeah. I'm listening to the wisdom of my body now.
And I ate too late because I
finally smarten up. We get older. We smarten up, right?
Well, listen to your body is the takeaway as well.
Exactly. The body says, not for me. Thank you.
Okay. So I was anxious about prescribing around intimacy, connection, relationships. Gabriela insisted, no, it actually makes a huge difference in people's lives. I capitulated. Gabriela was right. Do you want to steal that glass of water?
Oh my goodness, I've been drinking water from your glass.
And so either way, no, that was mine. So we actually prescribe activities in the program. So for instance, there's walking Wednesdays that if possible, go for a walk with somebody, friend or family member, call somebody distance on Sunday. So we're actually trying to perturb you into kind of connecting more with your loved ones. And
this is teach you again the motherhood language of psychological well-being. Like what? Know your happy hormones. Know that when you get a task done, if you start cleaning the house and you completed that, dopamine is going to start. It's a happy hormone. It's going to start flooding your system, that when you touch somebody, or that's oxytocin, poof, floods. Even if you go like this, you touch yourself, oxytocin starts flooding. And what are they? And what does that mean for the brain, for the body, for cancer, etc.? Endorphins, you do a good workout and poof, all of a sudden you meditate, serotonin, floods your body. Know your happy hormones. What do they do?
Yeah.
And then we talk about practical things of how to connect with others, the role of forgiveness in health and healing.
Yeah.
The fact that we all have emotional needs. Imagine that. It's not like, I'm needy. No, you're normal.
You're called human. You're
human. Yeah. Yes. And how to meet them with compassion and with love and understanding and knowing what that does for you.
Yeah. Sweet. Love it. Okay, so give yourself a point if on average you did one or more types of connection, intimacy, caring, throughout the week, right? So you're thinking about connection, you're thinking about quality time. Could be emotional, meaning I share with how I'm feeling, or intellectual, sharing something, that happened to me, etc. Recreational, physical, nature, food. There's even self-intimacy. Spending some time, some moments to really reflect on how I'm doing.
I'm sorry, I'm smiling. I was actually mentally reviewing that which has already gone by, and that's today's. I hug people. I'm a huggable person and everything. And again, talking about Mark, the head of my department, he's a pretty tough guy. And everything. But he's human.
It's true.
So we all have bad days.
Yes. Yeah.
And I don't know. We were talking on the hallway, and you can tell that he's under the weather. Hey, Mark, you want a hug? Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah. And I tap him on the back. It was a full hug, but just more of a tap. But you can tell he brightened up a bit.
It's not so bad.
It's not so bad.
Worth letting,
it's funny that's all we need somehow. Just to be seen sometimes.
And we're in this together.
Okay. Yeah. Somehow it's going to be okay. It's going to be okay.
Beautiful.
Somehow.
Part of the program is a few things that keeps you connected. You can choose to have a buddy, which you would phone once per week. So it's optional. We also invite you to our monthly video conferences. So it would be people affected by cancer. And so different people on the program would be there. And during that time, we have scientific updates. Yeah.
We go through a series of talks. We talk about the exercise, and really we go into the depth of the science of what does that mean. And we bring anecdotal stories and we make it fun because, at the end of the day, you just want to understand in basic terms, is that really important? Or is it just, one of those things that the jury is still out as to whether that matters or not? And
we talk about also processed foods. We talk about the microbiome, which is like burgeoning science. They're going to have to probably do an update every year on that
Yeah.
alone. So,
I mean, what day is today? Is Thursday, right?
Yeah.
So 2 days ago, we had the monthly video conference for the program, and we did a talk on how to
eat well when you're
traveling,
or when you go to work,
or when you go to work,
Yeah.
etc. So what are some healthy, practical tools that you can do and adopt right now to stay away from food poisoning, to stay away from, nausea or fatigue or irritation, especially when you spend so much money and you just want to go on a holiday, and then you get there and you're miserable. You haven't slept. Your gut is giving you trouble. You're vomiting. How do we stay awake? What do we do? And some very practical things. And it was wonderful. We had such a great time.
It was a good time
Yeah.
for certain. So, okay. So give yourself a point if you schedule some quality time with the same person or group of people every week. So if you have like a movie night or a cards night or go to church, or are you connecting? Like I go to hockey with the guys, for instance, I guess that qualifies as a point. So
yes, it does.
Spending some quality time with someone as a scheduled activity. Like, no, we go out on
our daughter,
on Wednesday nights or whatever. Yeah. Okay. Part of the program as well is we ask you to reflect on what you did in the previous week. And it supposedly keeps people accountable.
And it's not mandatory, but it really keeps people accountable.
Yeah.
And again, we have this component of the program because patients told us to do so, although this was against my better judgment.
Yeah, no.
And we listened. Thank goodness we listened.
Yeah.
It's a way for people to stay accountable. Patients love it. Love it.
They do actually love it. We're just going to offer that we've done a lot of science. This is just a big diagram saying we had a group of men with prostate cancer, 128 of them.
In the study,
scheduled for surgery or radiation for their prostate cancer for cure. Half the guys got the usual care. Half the guys got the usual care plus this PEP program. And at the end of the 6 months, again, they crossed over. And so we measured them very extensively at 0, 6, and 12 months of follow-up. And so it was our first kind of major randomized study. So half the guys in the early arm, half the guys in the late arm. And this was the incredible result.
Yeah. So what happened is men that follow usual standard of care for prostate cancer, their mental distress increased by 3.6 times higher odds compared to the men that got the program. So they needed it. It wasn't just that they were more distressed, but they needed clinical intervention. And although they got the program at 6 months, that did help them and stabilize things. But there was not their level of distress at the end of the year was nowhere close to the one of the people that got it immediately.
Got the program.
The sooner they got it, the better. Yeah. And this is not just the only outcome. We measured a lot of things. We measured self-efficacy, empowerment. We measured empowerment. And in fact, this whole relationship was mediated by empowerment. So what we showed in a study that we published a couple of months ago, actually, Cody McDonald, one of our students, did a mediation analysis, and he demonstrated that actually when people take the program, they feel more empowered. We activate the role of the patient in their own care. And as a result, and they're more likely to abide to the program, to try things out, to be curious, to experiment. And as a result, they have better quality of life. They have better mental health. They have better urologic outcomes.
They lost 7 pounds of weight on average.
On average.
Yeah. What do we have in terms of slides? Yeah, there's the weight loss.
So
the guys that started the program actually lost weight. And if they started a program at 6 months, they also similarly lost weight. And I would argue they actually gained muscle. So they lost more more adipose than what you expect. We're running a phase 4 trial for prostate cancer. So we have physicians from across the country getting their patients on the program. It's turned into an international trial right now. We now have sites in 4 continents and translating the program into multiple languages and so on. So that was prostate cancer. And then in terms of kidney cancer, we had about, 6, 7, 8 of the 104 who went in our trial who had a kidney cancer diagnosis. So this is CancerPEP. This is what we're now offering you. So more extensive than the prostate cancer program. So we talk about how to change your habits, stress and anxiety, teaching self-compassion, attitudinal healing principles. So we really did a lot with these guys over 6 months. And this is the program that you would get. Over 2 weeks, we had 104 Canadians from across the country join the program, all sorts of different cancers, all sorts of stages, all sorts of timing. And they really participated in the program. Nobody's hurt themselves. They haven't broken a bone or anything like that. And essentially, you can look at the blue bar. So that's the full cohort of 104. At baseline, 44% of them would have had enough anxiety and depression to actually justify getting some treatment.
Yeah.
After 6 months, it was down to 25% of them were at that level. So it really, on average, made a huge difference in their lives and out to a year as well. So
yeah, and I just finished the analysis for 24 months. Actually, the numbers are have decreased to 16%.
Oh, wow.
So you see a continuous decline over time.
Wow.
Which is really wonderful to
Incredible.
see. And then in orange there, we had, so among them, we had a huge cohort of breast cancer. So we thought we might as well do that, a stratified analysis to see if their trend is similar.
Yeah.
And as you can see in this graph, the trend is similar. We had kidney cancer patients on the trial. We had bladder and some other urologic patients, and their trend is similar. In fact, we're just presenting at the European Urological Association in less than a month, I think.
Yeah.
The results of that.
After an international trial type thing. Okay, so we've talked a lot about the program.
Yeah.
Now, I asked you a whole bunch of questions, right? So remember your point score here. If you did some strength training twice per week, give yourself a point. If you stand it up 5 minutes on every hour on average, give yourself a point. 5 or more servings of fruits and vegetables. You didn't eat overnight for more than 12 hours. You're practicing relaxation technique daily, connecting with others. You give yourself a point. Okay, so interpretation.
Okay.
How did you score? 6, you are a pathological liar. 5, yeah, you're nice, but you can't count. 4, that's amazing. 4 out of 6 is actually pretty good. 3, this should be KCC people will help you. At least you're honest. And welcome. You're in this together. Go straight home. Do not pass go. Okay, so we love for people to sign up. It's a free program. Thank you so much, Christine and Kidney Cancer Canada, for sponsoring this.
Yes.
So it's available to anybody,
so
essentially in Canada, who's been giving a kidney cancer diagnosis at any time of any stage. And it's so easy that they can simply email me directly, and I'll put you through the paces of a little survey pre and post and all that stuff. If I don't respond to you, somehow it gets into my junk mail, you can text me as well. So that's on your website. It will be in the emails, it's in this presentation. I think I'm going to leave it on the screen here just so people can watch that.
That's great. Thank you so much. That was so much information. What an excellent program. And thank you, it was easy to understand, and we can all kind of realize the impact of what this kind of better eating, better exercise, better mindfulness, it really is an all-inclusive program. And, I think we all benefit from it, whether we have cancer or not, but certainly this is going to be excellent for our attendees that are interested in. And not only by me, but I'd like to ask Wendy to join me. Wendy Clark was actually with me on the clinical trial. Wendy joined me with the cancer pilot project, the clinical trial that you ran previously. And we had a lot of fun talking about how we did each time. I mean, I was not a perfect attendee of that clinical trial, but I tried hard. Yes. And we had about 5 or 6 other people that had been on the trial, in the beginning, and they thoroughly enjoyed. We were all a little bit apprehensive, but, we got in there and the cooking, I loved your cooking shows. And I'll be honest, Rob and Gabriela, I'm not vegetarian. But you know what? I certainly tried a lot of your recipes, and they're a great accompaniment. If you like chicken or you like fish, they're a great accompaniment to a healthy protein. I'll call normal protein, but I know you offer lots of other protein alternatives too. Yeah. And I feel terribly that Wendy's mic isn't working, but I'm so glad that you joined us, Wendy. And people can see that, it wasn't just me. There was others with Kidney Cancer Canada that took advantage and enjoyed it. And Rob, you've made it super simple to join. just email you or text if necessary. I'll also throw out there, if you're interested, please, you can email us too, and we'll make sure that we get you in touch with Rob and Gabriela for the program. And Rob, maybe you can just share, if they sign up, like, I know that there's some surveys involved in this because it is a pilot project. It's something that's going to help us support kidney cancer patients. But is there something about starting on a Sunday?
Yes. So a couple of things. So there's a couple of steps. One is that you would contact me and say that you're from Kidney Cancer Canada. And then I would send you a little survey, which will assess just a little bit around your quality of life and your health habits. So it's really, really short, all confidential. And sign kind of a waiver there. And once you kind of go through that, you would also be asked when you want to start. And it would be starting on a Sunday. And it's probably going to take us at least a week and a half to get going. So it's not going to be this Sunday as the first possibility.
Right.
And people can
certainly by next Sunday you can enroll. So if you contact us any time in the next few days, we can put you on the program starting next Saturday. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah. So
that's great because March is Kidney Awareness Month.
Oh, fantastic.
So that would be a great time to start the program. Kidney Awareness
Perfect
Month.
timing. Divine intervention.
In the middle of the winter.
Yes.
Yeah. And so you get some introductory videos that like overview the dietary part of this and exercise.
Educate the medical system.
Yes. So you get that education at the start, but then it's a Sunday, and then every day you get an email for 6 months.
Okay.
And then you get your conference invites and other activities that we offer.
Right. Okay. I do have a question. Is the program only for Canadian residents? Unfortunately, yes. But yes, I guess.
You can negotiate with Christine.
If you negotiate with me, email Kidney Cancer Canada. I think that would be the best thing to do because I did when we were advertising, this excellent program. We did have some inquiries from the States. And you know what? I hate to turn people away that, truly are a kidney cancer patient and they would really benefit from the program. I think I have to say that Canadian residents have first choice for, that we have to honor our Canadian residents first. But please just email me and we'll see what we can work out. How's that?
Perfect.
And have another question. Can I do it all when I have time? I work in the evenings and sometimes weekends. So, you know what? I was working full time. I didn't have problems. You just make the time. It's only a few minutes a day, some of the things. And you do what you do. But I'll tell you one thing, Rob and Gabriela, it has stuck. A lot of the things you taught me have stuck with me, primarily stand for 5.
Nice.
And I'm very conscious that, especially long hours in front of the computer, you have to stand up and move. And they say, sitting is the new smoking. And I think you mentioned that as well. So it's really important.
And for the person that asked if they can do this, I just wanted to say that I love how Rob recommends, if nothing else, if you don't have time for anything, as soon as you wake up, just watch that 3 to 4 minute video because it will percolate the stuff that we say, throughout the mind, throughout the day. And then when you have a moment, you look more specifically or you click and say, oh, maybe I should give this Qigong thing a trial. I'm at work. They said that look at her. Gabriela does it in her office. Nobody knows. Why can't I do quickly, maybe 5-10 minutes? You know what I mean? So,
even a little bit makes a big difference.
Absolutely.
Right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I have a question, Christine.
Go ahead. Sure, Mona. Sorry.
I was just wondering because with all the snow that we had, we were shoveling away all that snow. So where does that fit in the exercise program? Is it stretching? Is it then the cardio? Like, how do you? You know, like when we're doing gardening or, you know, the red
Yes.
that we do, how does that fit in the program?
Absolutely. Well, let me give you an example. I mean, if you can I? Because I'm
for
just
it,
excited about this. If you just shovel the driveway and you start and you say to yourself, I need to, clean up my driveway so people can, and I can go access my car. You do that. Not only do you have some cardio there because your heart will go up a bit, right? But you also use your core muscles to be able to put that shovel, in the snow and get it out of the way. But then there's also the happy hormones that we talked about, dopamine. I mean, you start a task, you get it done, poof, done. So you have two happy hormones getting in here, endorphins and dopamine, right? Because you finished a task, and endorphins because you're working out. So that's such a beautiful, happy hormones cocktail. Fantastic for decreasing inflammation and
you know what?
Improving clarity. And
if you see it as I'm doing my exercise now, I actually have more benefit from it. So yeah.
Cleaning the house up and down and going up and down the stairs, doing laundry, bending down, vacuum, and so on. Yes, absolutely. Absolutely.
And then, you know what, you were talking about the shoveling, Mona, and yes, we all have been shoveling, and Gabriela and Rob, but the other thing too is you're very mindful of the patients that have, maybe recently had surgery or, just don't have the capacity being on treatment to have active exercise. So I do notice in your videos, you have different levels.
Yes,
so, somebody that can't quite do it and then somebody that's much more capable.
Yeah, I mean, post-surgery, if you have like kidney surgery, oftentimes your urologist will say no kind of heavy lifting for at least 4 weeks, but you always use the advice from the medical system over what we're recommending.
Right.
And really, I mean, we just want you to do what you can and be reasonable about it. Some days you can be so tired that even a 5-minute walk would be, doing it, but we would want you to do even the 5-minute walk. So
agreed.
Yeah.
Please say something.
No.
Wendy?
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Wow. I don't understand why it goes on and on. I really enjoyed when I did it with, I think I was in the first group after the prostate group. So and I did really enjoy it, and I would look forward to doing it again. One thing I'll always remember, I wasn't a great walker. I didn't like walking, and my husband loved walking. So when I started with you guys, I would look forward every morning, especially to your video. It's like a great way to start your day. If you watch it first thing, it's wonderful. And my husband would be like, who are you listening to? They're so happy. It's a positive way to start your day. But the walking thing, we would go for a walk, and poor Jim would listen to me moaning and complaining every time we'd start, because I have arthritis, my hips bother me, this was bothering me. And I'd kind of whined for the first 20 minutes. And then you talked about, remember, woohoo, and I started doing that.
Great when you get something that
I'd go for my walk and I'd say, I'm so lucky to be walking. I'm so grateful to be outside. And I did all the things that you encouraged to do. And that stuck with me. And I have to say, and then you'd get home and you do your woohoo. And Jim was laughing at me. He said, what are you doing? I said, I know, but it's working. It makes me like to go for a walk more. And it was just, I had a negative attitude about it. And you helped. It was one of the takeaways from it that I really, really.
So good. So can I just add that we've had the prostate cancer guys do this program, and a lot of the guys would have some osteoarthritis. So they're kind of achy in the hips or the knees, et cetera, et cetera. But when they changed their diet and they started to exercise, they had some more stress reduction, their arthritis got better. Like, I'm not saying like every guy, it happened that way, or not every guy went perfectly, but they said on average, the arthritis was less. So less inflammation in the body, less inflammation in the knees and hips. So hopefully
anti-inflammatory eating and the positivity of simple exercise makes a huge difference.
Love it.
Yeah.
Good story, Wendy. Thank you.
And I'll give kudos. Oh, go ahead, Wendy. Sorry.
For me, I've been on systemic therapies for 10 years. So for me, when I'm off the drugs, I notice the big difference on my arthritis, and it doesn't bother me at all. So I really want to try to find ways to help with the inflammation, because I realize that the drugs and everything just increases my inflammation that much more. So I'm looking forward to it this time. I know I'll be more serious and
oh, well,
we'll do the best we can.
Will be lovely to see you.
Yeah.
That's wonderful, Wendy. Really nice to see you and hear that you're doing well and that you will join us again. I'm really excited about that. That's beautiful.
And I give kudos to Mona because I know Mona is a much more mindful eater than I am, and she follows some of your grains and your other products that you put in the veggies and stuff, because I have had the opportunity to dine at Mona's house. So she's very conscious of that thing, and she's a good example for us to follow. So I guess it's time. I'm so glad for those that have joined us. I hope that you got something out of it. We often get questions about nutrition and exercise and what do we do when we're a kidney cancer patient. And you've given us a wealth of information and now a program that we can participate in and follow. So thank you so much. And Rob has given you the information. Mona will have our webinar up on our website for those that want to tune in later and learn about this program. And if you have any questions and you forget Rob's email address, then please just email us at Kidney Cancer Canada, info at kidneycancercanada.ca, and we'll make sure we get you to where you need to go. So thank you again. Oh, we have some chats. Just give me 1 second. I'm sure it's you. Okay.
Thank you, Mona. That's wonderful. Yes, just in case if people want to know.
So thank you again. It's been a great evening. Thank you, Mona.
Thank you so much. We're excited to be working with you.
Yeah, I'm excited.
Support the patients and have a wonderful community grow from this. Let's all learn from each other, and because the truth is, we all heal together. We grow together.
Support each other. That's right. Okay, take care. Thanks again.
Have a wonderful night.
Okay.
Bye,
Good
everyone.
night. Bye-bye.